Okay, so today I'm going to be discussing three different types of graphic organizers that I do find helpful and that I would use in my future classroom. The first graphic organizer we are going to start with is a Venn diagram. This is a picture of a Venn diagram blank. So, a Venn diagram uses overlapping circles to illustrate the relationships between two or more things. They can be squares or any other shapes, just typically they're just normally circles. Um, so I would use this in a classroom whenever I'm teaching different subjects. For an example, my subject would be science, and I wanted to talk about the differences and the similarities between whales and fish and what they both have in common. So I have two circles, so I have two topics that I will use. So I have whales, which will go over here in this circle, and then I have fish that go over here, and then in the middle I will have both. So for whales, I would list that they breathe air and they do have hair. For fish, I would put they have scales, they lay eggs, and they breathe water. For in the middle, because what they both can do, I would put they can both swim and they both live in the water. So the first column over here has what whales do. Over here is only what fish do, and in the middle is what both will do. Another example with the subject being English language arts, I could use this when reading a book and wanting to compare characters and talk about what they have in common and how they differ. So if I'm reading a book about multiple characters in it, some like singing, some like football, and some like both. So for over here, I have two topics again, like singing and football. So I would write like singing in this circle, and then I would write likes football in this circle. In the middle, I will write both. So for like singing, I would put Amy and Daniel because they only like singing. They do not like football. For football, I would put John because John does not like singing. So he's over here with the football. However, Claire and Alice both like singing and football. So I would put their names in the middle because they like both. However, the ones who like only singing will remain over here, and the ones who like only football will remain over here. I personally feel that a Venn diagram is very helpful when listing the differences and the similarities between objects and items when you're talking about characters or um, how they differ, what they have the same, and stuff like that. And then our second graphic organizer we'll be going on to is a bubble map. This is personally one of my favorites. A bubble map is used to describe qualities related to a specific item. I would use a bubble map in, you can use a bubble map in a lot of subjects. For my subject being English language arts, I would do a book title. So, as my main idea, my topic, I would write the book title in the middle. So, for a book I will use is Cat in the Hat. So, in the middle, I will write the book title, which is Cat in the Hat in the middle. I can branch off and put there's a cat. But then you could add another circle and put wears a hat. And you can go off again and put black and white, talking about his colors. And then you could brand over here, you could say you had a boy. You could write his name, you could write his age, you could go to his clothes. Same thing with a girl. You could do parents, where they are, what you think of them. You can do the house, what the house looks like, the type of day, sunny, the setting. And then for science, you can also do types of cells in the human body. So if you want to learn this type of cells in the human body, you would just write that in the middle, types of cells of the human body. And then you can go off and do skin cells, muscle cells, fat cells, bone cells. And you can write all the cells that are in the human body. There does not have to be 6. You can do however many bubbles you need, and you can branch off, you can add, you can take away. It's your bubble map to help you. And then, so if you were learning, I just find this very helpful if you're learning like two different things. So if you have skin cells over here, you have your own bubble map of, if you have your human body cells, you have them over here with like skin cells, bone cells, fat cells, you have them all listed. And then you could have another bubble map over here with muscles. If you have to learn the muscles of the human body, you could just list off your muscles so you can see which cells are with the human body, which muscles are with the human body, so you do not get confused and you're able to see, have a visual image in front of you of which is which. And I do feel like a bubble map is it helps us add and list more details about a specific topic or object. And then, excuse me, and then our third graphic organizer we'll be talking about is a flow map. This is an example of a blank flow map. It's not filled out. And a flow map is just used to show us like the movement of objects, patterns, and timelines, sequencing. So this is an example again of just one blank. You do not have to have this many blocks, and you can have more, you can have less. And I would teach, if my subject is science, I could do air pollution. I could write, the cool thing about this is you can do like causes, the effect, and then the effect, like the result of that effect. If I wanted to do air pollution, I could write cars burning fuel and mining goes to air pollution. And then because of air pollution, you see your arrow continues and it wraps around here. Because of air pollution, you have acid rain and respiratory issues. So you could do like that. It does not have to be like this. You can do a straight line, but just from the page on the sides, it does just go like that. However, they do draw an arrow so you do not get confused. So that is very important. If you draw your own instead of have one printed out, if you draw your own, make sure which boxes are going in the right order. If I didn't want this many boxes, I would just forget this box and do like a plant's life cycle, depending on how many stages we're reviewing and covering in the class. I could say the plant starts off as a seed, then it goes to sprout, and then it's a bud, and then it blooms, and it's a flower. And I just find this very helpful. You could do this with books when you're talking about different events in the books, the way the weather changes. You could use this with seasons, starting in January, which season starts in January, then this season, this one, and then the remaining all the way until December. You could do history, the list of events that have taken place. I just find flow maps are very helpful when sequencing and listing the events in correct order that things happen in, and help students stay focused and just remember this happens and this happens. And I also find you can use this with math. So you could say a number, you could do 5, and then you could put adding, subtracting, multiplication, division right here, and then add another number, and put the other number 5. And you could do your equal mark, so equals, and then you could put 25, your answer. So, excuse me. So you have 5 times 5 equals 20.